As various men began to take a position, he fingered the paper inside his pocket, before almost reluctantly pulling it out. The page he himself held was nothing special. Throughout the city, newsboys and his comrades were spreading copies around. It was the words themselves that held real meaning. The document had been largely penned by his own hand, a labour he had not taken lightly. Ignoring the nausea that welled up inside him, he turned to address the crowd that was beginning to assemble, helped by the staff workers fleeing the building. Public na hÉireann, the provisional government of the Irish Republic to the people of Ireland. His voice rang out, and the looks of bemusement among them below only intensified. Irish men and Irish women, in the name of God and of the dead generations from which she receives her old tradition of nationhood, Ireland, through us, summons her children to her flag and strikes for her freedom. More than a few gasped in shock when they heard those words, for they meant that this was no simple march or demonstration that was underway. No, this was far more. The Irish volunteers had done the unthinkable. They had plunged the country into war, despite the fighting in Europe. As he stared at those troubled faces, those worried expressions, he wondered if what they were doing was right. Even as he read the document with practiced ease, it gnawed at him. Did they have any right to plunge their country into war? Was a free Ireland worth the blood that was about to be spilt? Okay, I'm not done just yet, so you're going to have to put up with me for a bit longer. Now I'll be doing a poem, and Michael will be accompanying me with the song Manana Heron, and it's a poem I wrote myself. It's called In the City of Dublin, and it's about the events and the aftermath of the Easter Rising.
I just picked this piece because we might be all aware of the human tragedy that unfolded during the 6 days of Armagh near the 1916 rebellion. In fact, over 54% were civilian casualties during that week. And no smaller role was played by Manana HÉireann. Not just the Elizabeth O'Farrells or the Countess Markievicz, or I'll give her a proper title, Markievicz, I believe is the correct pronunciation, but many more. And they weren't there just to supply food. There was first aid, there was so many things. In fact, the rebellion would not have functioned as well as it did without the Manana HÉireann. So that's the reason why I want to play this in background to Seán's poem, Gurmagh.
In the city of Dublin. In the city of Dublin, people were waiting. Carriages bustled through churning streets as children laughed and played and ran through narrow passages teeming with life. As trundling trams coughed along in the city of Dublin, people were waking. In the city of Dublin, people were hurrying. Men bearing arms taking position as freedom was declared and enforced. Through glass windows they watched and waited as groaning troop boats altered course. In the city of Dublin, people were hurrying. In the city of Dublin, people were screaming, soldiers marching upon a bridge of death as guns spat and squealed. Through flesh and blood they burrowed as fire burned and consumed. In the city of Dublin, people were screaming. In the city of Dublin, people were furious. Rebels hounded as they fled. As a white flag is flown high above, through hateful crowds they were taken. As steely-eyed guards fired, in the city of Dublin, people were furious. In the city of Dublin, people were weeping. Coffins lowered gently to the earth, as mothers wailed and clung to their husbands. Through people's hearts their echoes were heard. As souls died for Ireland's plight, in the city of Dublin, people were weeping.